The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host. Once more, do we go into the breach, dear friends?
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Hello? Did we get there? Oh, there we are. Slow on the uptick today. So what do we have going on? Of course, Apple earnings out after the bell. I thought we'd get to 155 or 156. Actually got to 159.75 for a little while. And then the worst, if you're a bear, started to happen, and that is everybody started to short everything. And they were able to get the market down 6, 7, 8 points on the S&P cash for a while. We're down just 2 points now, and going into fund buying at the end of the day, my guess is we're going to start seeing all those orders show up. There's a thing called market on close, and if you're buying lots of stock and you're at a fund of some kind, you have traders working for you, probably computers these days, and you know whether or not you got good fills or not by a thing called a WAG. And so they're looking for that number at the end of the day. Kind of the easiest thing to do is when everybody's shorting, kind of pile on, drive what you want down a little bit more. And then when it comes time to buy in the afternoon, a lot of people are still a little pessimistic. You can get your orders filled fairly quickly. So not uncommon to see these kind of intraday reversals. I had been fairly bearish on the way up. Volume didn't ever come until we actually kind of broke out around the 2460 level. At that point, when we had volume, I suspected that we were going to 2500 and put away my shorting for a little while. Could we get it again? We could, but my guess is that we're through earnings, that even that they moved the earnings down, they were okay. Stocks acted fairly well for the most part. That sets up the next earnings cycle, probably before any big move down. Could we still pull back? I think the answer is yes. But if we're talking about some kind of 6-month high in the market, probably not going to come until the next earnings cycle. So we may have 3 months. That doesn't mean the stock market is going much higher, but it does mean that probably the huge bets that we're seeing over the last 2 or 3 days, especially in the VIX products, are 1, probably early, and 2, maybe totally wrong. So we'll look at both of those things, but there just doesn't seem to be a lot going on here. And of course, when you see a lot of people stampede into the VIX products, that's generally for retail traders. The big guys will buy S&P futures and or short them. And the VIX products tends to be very focused toward retail traders, and that's probably the worst case that you can get into, is see those things start to balloon in size. That means that the retail guys are generally the weakest hand out there. You want people that can and endure a little bit of a pop. If someone goes boo and your entire army starts running, not a lot of staying power in those short positions. As I said, I'm not expecting huge upside in the market, but it would be, or at least for me, very tough to talk about significant downside either. And it may be a very equity-specific type of trade out there that makes money. I thought it would be in some of these short positions. They haven't paid off for me yet, highly shorted positions, but we shall see. I've got a long time before expiration in some of these into September. So I've got a little while for these things to allow it. And, of course, one of the things that's been around forever, they call it a old chestnut, is be wary of a quiet market. I thought we'd probably hit 2,500 on the S&P cash today. We certainly hit 22,000 on the Dow, so we can put our party hat on. But other than that, not a big deal. 2.1 billion shares as we go into the bottom of the first segment on the show. So volume is good, not great. But again, I don't suspect it has to be. We can have kind of middling volume as a lot of these positions start to set up for the rest of, well, at least into the next quarter of earnings. They may start having problems then. They certainly will be able to kind of toot their own horn. We'll talk about Apple in a minute and maybe some of the things you can look at in it. But that's about it. And as always, we'd like to start the show off with a little bit of history.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1876, Wild Bill Hickok, one of the greatest gunfighters in American West, is murdered in Deadwood, South Dakota, after accidentally killing his deputy during an 1871 shootout in Abilene, Texas. Hickok never fought in another gun battle. For the several years he lived off his famous reputation, appearing as himself in Buffalo Bill Cody's Wild West show. Hickok held a pair of black aces and black eights when he died, a combination that has since been known as the dead man's hand. Many people thought he was suicidal. He always sat with his back to the wall. He, for several days had been sitting with his back to the entrance and was agitating a young man of dubious mental abilities on an ongoing basis. Some thought that he was using that as someone to commit suicide. He apparently had really bad medical issues going on at the same time too. And back then it wasn't as easy to get suicide by cop. You just find some jackass in the street, start belittling them, put your back to the front door, and wait for them to end it for you. A lot of people actually thought that. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Wild Bill Hickok.
Now you know the rest of the story.
Yeah, well, at least part of the story. Other things going on after the bell tonight, we've got Tesla, Square, Take-Two, Fitbit, Marathon, Symantec, AIG, 3D Systems, Rig, Tableau, Stamps.com, Quarvo, NXPI, Citrix Systems, The Container Store, and Storm Ruger. Sturm Ruger? Storm. And that's kind of it on that front. When we come back, we'll look at Apple, and we'll talk about it. I had several questions today, so I will answer them on Apple and the three-gap play.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And we continue on. Anyway, I wanted to talk about Apple and a three-gap play. Yes, it does have three big gaps. It did qualify. Normally what you get, though, today is you should get pretty much an instant failure on the third gap. The way to play this would have been to short it fairly close to the open, probably above 159, and sit on your hands for the end of the day to see if the thing falls apart. Normally, you get one of two things. One, you get kind of a light volume pullback that starts multi-day pullbacks and turns into something bigger, or it instantly fails. It's really done neither of those. You've got really good volume at 57 million shares. It's still up 5%, which is kind of the far reaches of everything bouncing, at least this earnings cycle. You pretty much, to make money in the options, had to beat 5% moves. It seems like all these stocks kind of went to around 5 or 6%, and then that was it. So there weren't a lot of options to get some of these bigger stocks moving. I think maybe you would have made a little bit of money in Netflix, but that was about it. Even if you were right on some of these others, it becomes problematic. So, yes, it's got the setup. That setup is something you watch and don't predict unless you're very, very sure about the underlyings of the company. And Apple, and there's going to be enough people that buy this stock until the day it's $1. And believe in it forever. So, when you get a cult stock, generally it's not the kind where these three gap plays, unless the cult has gone all Jim Jones on everybody. And I don't think it has. Apple's still pumping a lot of stuff. Rumors continue to swirl. I think that's why this thing, as we said yesterday, I thought this thing was going to bounce to about 155, 157.80 now. So a little bit more than I thought, but way too many people shorting this. And again, way too many people probably in leveraged VIX products thinking that there's going to be a lot of volatility. Maybe there will, but my guess is that if that volatility comes, it will not be until it'll be only as soon as maybe even next week. But I'm not getting a lot of signals. Normally, when the markets are going to severely move, I get a handful of stocks that are testing highs on lighter volume, then kind of a stream, and then a deluge, and then the market turns. I've just got a handful right now, and there just aren't enough stocks that really look like they've hit some high, decided to rotate down to move this market. Apple doesn't help that in any way. Does that mean we're still probably looking at, a couple of percent up for every 5% down? I think the answer is yes. I just don't think that 5% down is highly likely until we get some more volume in this market. And that may mean that we get into September, the mid of September, and start through yet another earnings cycle. Yes, Danny in the den is a buyer at $1. Just wondering if he's going to be one of those people that buys a ticket on the last not intercoastal. What's non-foreign? Last the 747 is going to have its last flight from coast to coast, I think, this week. Just made me think of that. They're only going to be flown from country to country from now on, and probably won't see 4-engine planes. You can't even sell those Airbuses with 4 engines. Of course, they haven't really pushed out any 747s. And even the president's Air Force One is probably going to be a 747 that they got from a company that went out of business, and they never got the plane delivered. But that's it. That's like gasoline that you didn't put, or aviation fuel in your case, that you didn't put in the plane before you took off. Just can't even think about it anymore. Anyway, as we said, a handful of stocks. I just continue thinking that there's got to be something bigger and set up here. This may be one of these days where we see everything happen in the last 30 minutes. We continue to see higher and higher ratios of funds going into the dark pools. So we don't see a lot of what's going on behind the curtain. And I think a lot of that is actually happening now. We'll probably start seeing the ramifications of that in about 1 hour. So again, look for those market on close orders. They're probably shaping up right now, and that's why we're seeing the market start to move up, at least in the broader S&P cash. Of course, no problem with the NASDAQ when you've got Apple being some 15% of the market. What else do we have out here? Probably ought to get rid of this. Anyway, 3-gap play. If anybody's wondering what this is, I do have a white paper on it. I'll be glad to send you the link to it. Just email me at path@tfnn.com. No. Okay. Let's see, anything else? Okay, question from Wayne in Dallas. He wants to know if it hurts. Rather personal question. And when we talk about Hertz, there's only one stock with that symbol that is hurting. There we go. Hertz Global. I'd like to know my thought on Hertz. Wild swings last 3 weeks and earnings on August 7th. At first blush, you would say that this thing looks like it's some kind of ABC on the way up. The downside is I think that the upside would be limited to just under $18 at July 28th high. You had a kind of a big mark down. Could this stock surprise? It could. For me, the only way to buy this one is probably a test of the June 21st low, $8.52, and probably need about 4 million shares to get me excited. That's it. Okay, so what else do we have? We've got a handful of stocks, and then we'll go into the stocks with earnings. In fact, why don't we just start that now? After the bell tonight, we've got Tesla. This thing was down a little bit earlier. we talked about this thing possibly being in an ABC down. This thing has got like 34% short interest right now. And the problem is that if you're wrong, you're going to get this thing wadded in your face. This is a cult stock, so you got to watch about that too. My thought is eventually this is going back to 280. I would love one more retest of about 350 with all the energy coming up, and then maybe that completion of the ABC down to 280. This one's pretty good at having at least one false run back higher before it falls apart. In the past, I've caught it. Energy's pretty good on the way down so far. You are coming into the previous low of July 10th, doing so with about half the volume so far. So not a good place to take a position here. If you wanted to be short, somewhere around 350 on light volume, probably be the only safe point. You need some of these shorts to get out of it, and that's always problematic. We'll be back after this short timeout. Give me a call, 877-927-6638.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Will interest rates continue to rise? For bold trades on U.S. Treasuries, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade TMF or TMV. Directions daily, 20-plus year, bull and bear, 3 times ETFs. Direction leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we are back again. We're off 2 points on the S&P cash volume, 2.2 billion shares on the NYSE. Yeah, we talked about this a few times, Tesla, and that is if you look at the expansion, does have the ability to have a 263 low, which is just under this gap that goes back, what is that, It's just at the top of that gap that goes back to March 28, 2017. So not a big deal. A lot of times you sell the news. This may be one of those times. Every time this thing has wanted to go down, you got a lot of shorts. I would hate to be short this thing, have them run it for one day, and then have the thing turn around yet again. That's probably a more likely scenario. So I'm kind of avoiding that one, although I will be watching it closely tomorrow. And if you get a gift, which is a nice pop, it may come into its own. I've been talking about Chile, mostly because they have, 3/4 of all the lithium in the world, easy lithium in the world. It is, I don't know if it's considered a rare earth like the other ones. It is rare, not as rare as many of the rare earths, and I think that's why they're a little bit more in. They just have enough of it. I think it's lithium dioxide, kind of a white powder they get out of the ground. But anyway, if Chile is involved, lithium ion is involved. Been watching this one where you actually had Chile, the ECH market index fund, testing the previous high on about half the volume at 45.88 just a couple of days ago. Kind of interesting. No big signal yet. You got a little bigger volume out here today. But energy still fairly good off this June 30th low to the July 27th high. My thought has been, we talked about it last week, Toyota has their battery, which is a solid state battery. I thought it might be something like a supercapacitor. It's not. It's just a solid electrolyte, not a paste like all the lithium-ion batteries are today. That paste will dry out and has the ability to short circuit, where a rather solid packed powder that Toyota is talking about coming out with all their cars in electric versions in 2022 would be kind of interesting. But it'd be interesting. It's unclear whether or not they're using lithium-ion technologies in Toyotas. But my thought is that someone may come out with something that doesn't use lithium. And I think that would make all the difference in the world, especially if you could use something that was 4 or 10 times more readily available. There are some earths that are available, like manganese and some others that people have been talking about making much cheaper batteries and ones without all the side effects of lithium ion. But even now, I think they're going to make you check every single laptop, anything bigger than a cell phone now, from Homeland Security is going to have its own special check. And, you see that lithium ions, there may be some better days coming in that sector. What else did I want to look at? We talked about it yesterday, which is SCCO. Wanted to see how this was going on. Yeah, I saw that today too. The battery tech left from Tesla. I think maybe that's why you saw a little bit of the weakness going into earnings after the bell tonight. The problem with when you're working for somebody who even admits they're bipolar is when they forget and they're manic, they maybe give you a job that can't ever be done. I have a feeling that may be it. Batteries do make sense. They just don't make sense today. Yeah, you can get 50 mile an hour or 50 mile per gallon cars. So why buy a car with batteries? It makes sense in very special places, but not for everybody just yet. But eventually you might find that. Anyway, Southern Copper, been watching this one test the previous high, 2 million shares, February 10th, 39.38. Got to 39.94, so a good 50 cents higher. Really haven't had any juice in this one. It's got a gap down here that really didn't have that much juice. So you got to watch for any of these things rolling back south. We're about ready to go about ready to go black on the day in the S&P cash. I've got a tick here that says 2480. I don't know if that's real or not. That was during the opening, and I don't know, but my guess is that we're headed there here in the next 20 minutes, and then we'll see. I kept on thinking we'd hit 2,500 today, but my guess is we will hit that 2,500 before Friday on the S&P cash. VLO, Valero. And what do we have on this one? This thing's banging around the $70 level. It has a few times. Last time you got into it with 4.4 million shares. This time he spiked it, but went right back underneath it with 5.1 million shares. So you may still have yet another breakout on the way. When we look at the commodities, let's take a quick look. We're up 28 cents on oil, no big deal there. Down $3.50 on gold. These things are just kind of laying around here. The one that I'm really interested in, of course, is natural gas. This is seasonally the time to start looking at it. Normally during the summer, you don't get that much. This thing, I think we talked about it. I think we even had a caller. Want to think it was from Tahoe. Maybe not. Can't remember right now. Just remembered it was a lady caller asking about UNG and natural gas, and I was saying, hey, this thing, the best thing would be that this thing came down to 650 and did so on lighter volume. Well, it blew through on heavier volume, which means that you may have a couple of heavy weeks to go. But I think we're within maybe 2 weeks of natural gas finding a bottom, so I'll be watching it fairly close. I like this high volume washout on yesterday, and now you got a little bounce out here, no volume. But if this thing can find a very nice low around $6, in the next 2 weeks, and it looked like it's got some kind of support, I think it's going to be interesting. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Okay. Okay, just reading a few things. Okay. Go back to a few other things out here that I'm looking at. Well, that's it. Going to the break. I'll be back. We'll look at a few more. How about that Walmart? Give me a call, 877-927-6648.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
The TAS Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the TAS Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profiles So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the TAS Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Before we get into a few more of these earnings after the bell. Walmart, 18 million shares back on June 5th. And you've got to say that, that's kind of a big deal. So we will continue to, 18.5 million shares. We got 5.3 million shares today. We have 6.2 million shares the day before that. So you're going into that. You've got earnings on the 17th. So that continues to be one of these deals where you have to kind of look and think what the issue is. So we'll keep an eye on it. But very interesting. Energy was a little off on this run from July 10th. So there's a little weak side to this. But I think that Walmart's moving up on the thought that Amazon will have some antitrust issues and continues to move on. But they've also done some very good work in moving the company around and getting rid of some of the dead wood and dead stores and turning the more profitable ones on. So it's helped. But what else can you say? The things at its highs. You're only a couple of weeks away from earnings, which is never a good time to short one of these stocks for the most part. And that's why I suspect that we've got a couple more weeks up here, maybe even next week, before there's any potential for a top. I just don't see it this week yet. Maybe something else happens. What else do we have out here? Squares out after the bell. I think we had a couple people ask about this earlier. I don't see anything that really has changed in this one. No signal. The thing is like a lot of them. And again, you could have a third gap and a 3-gap play up here, which pretty much would mean you'd ring the register. If I didn't say that earlier, if you were long Apple, I probably at 159 would have been a seller if I was long it. This does set up for one more gap higher. So you get maybe $30 out of this thing tomorrow on good earnings. That would probably say that's about as good as it's going to get for a while. And at best, it consolidates and goes sideways. At worst, you get a fairly decent pullback. TTWO, which is Take-Two Entertainment, video game company. This one double topped with not that lighter of a volume. But again, earnings after the bell, so you don't want to be predicting on this one. But it's hanging around its previous June 8th high, and that's $80.54. Even EA, I think, came back a little bit, but not that much, and then went higher after earnings. Little dragon doji out here at the moment for today. These things are probably priced about as good as they're going to get. Again, you're going to have to find something that probably sold off to get a lot of upside in these. What else do we have? Fitbit, one of the IPOs that had issues, is trading around the $5 mark. That's compared to the previous low, June 22nd. This thing could just bust through the bottom tonight. Again, I'm not going to be shorting a $5 stock, but I don't think I would be long that one. It's got problem all of its own. AIG, another one out after the bell tonight. What else do we have out here? Now, this one's up against fairly stiff resistance. Fell apart on last earnings on the 15th of February. Did so on 38.3 million shares. What do we have? This thing got into it with 5 million shares on July 27th. It's gone sideways, but a pretty good retracement back up here. It's worked its way back up. Energy was good, but not great from that April 19th low. So you got all the risk, probably very little reward in AIG higher. So another one that I probably, if I'd been buying out there on the lows, probably would be selling into it. STMP, which is stamps.com. A lot of these are priced for perfection. A few of these could probably see some more downside. In this one, you have another one that's set up for a little gap, kind of like Apple did. If it did, I'd certainly ring the register if it gapped higher on tomorrow's sale. Hard for me to think that this thing actually got any better, though. So it is problematic. Got a couple of stocks out here in the smartphone sector. NXPI, this thing's in a buyout, but hadn't done much. So I don't know if anything's going to change in that one. QVRO, which is the old Broadcom QRVO. Is that it? Yeah. The old Broadcom and RF Micro Devices and a handful of other stocks that went together to be a little better. This one's a giant triangle. So watch this one. If it has a nice bounce one way or the other, you might look at fading that move after the bell. Okay. CTXS. CTXS, is that Citrix? Let's go to DDD. Okay, 3D Systems out after the bell. This thing had a fairly decent run, gave it all back and some more back up. But not a bad-looking chart. It's back down at its levels from about May 8th that had 9 million shares on the way back up. Came into it with half the volumes, had a little bounce out here. I would love this thing to go sideways for a little while. I'd like to buy this thing long-term again. I think the washout's just about done, and you can start to buy these things for the long term again. This one may just be a little bit ahead of that. Let's see, what else do we have? Tableau Systems, which is a data mining stock, out after the bell too. Now this one, again, risk reward's pretty poor. You're going to have maybe $78 to the upside, $55 to the downside. This one may move very quickly. Unfortunately, you do have all that overhead risk when this thing blew apart, going back to, when is this? Thing blew apart with 21 million shares back on February 5th. It's come and filled almost all of that. But man, if they miss this time, I think $55 on the downside, maybe $75 on the upside. So should be some action on that one. What else do we have? Stamps.com, Sigler, Container Store, Fitbit, AIG, Take-Two, Square, Tesla. I think that's about it. Got a request to take a look at Facebook. What else do we have? You had your bounce. It's back in here, 170 level. There's no signals on it yet. If you wanted to be long for earnings, when is earnings? I'll check on that during the break, but I think it's coming up fairly quick. We will do that and be right back to you for the last exciting segment of the Power Trading Hour.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And Tom O'Brien, in the next couple hours, I'm sure he'll talk about all these earnings with Tesla, Square, Take-Two, Fitbit, Marathon, Symantec, AIG, 3D Systems, Rig, Tableau, Stamps.com, Corvo, NXPI, Citrix Systems, Container Store, and Storm Ruger after the bell today. As I said earlier in the day, I'm not going to make too much of a decision until I see what those market on close orders look like on fund buying. And we've got about another 25 minutes. So we'll look kind of close at that. That we haven't been able to really move higher. We've had heavy shorting into both moves. The one earlier this morning and this one, probably not a big deal. We continue to see a lot of retail investors shorting in the morning and covering in the afternoon. That may be the same. The question would be how big did these guys come in on buying today? And I guess no one really knows the answer to that. But, we could have a very quick 3 to 3:30, probably really 3:15 to 4 o'clock hour. That's going to tell us a lot more than probably anything we've seen already today. Volume's fairly decent, 2.4 billion shares. Not huge, not weak. Not a lot of stocks giving signals. They are holding up until earnings, and there's no real way to do that. I'm not finding a lot of rhyme or reason for the ones that do well and don't do well after earnings in the charts. So not a lot of information leaking on many of these, but we'll keep an eye on it. International Business Machine, this thing is back down to a previous low. It's down there with half the volume. We talked about this a couple of days ago. 143.49, which is the October 18th low, came in with 12.7 million shares. On July 27th, you had 6.4 million shares. Really hadn't picked up. You got fairly light volume. If you were short this thing, probably time to ring the register on it. Again, the energy off this top was not horrifically huge. You had a couple of days that this thing kind of fell apart, mostly on William Buffett's discussion of selling 1/3 of his shares in this company, pretty close to the top. I really don't know. I haven't looked the last few days to see whether he sold any more. The question is he going to? Because he could pretty much demolish the price of the stock if he just decides to get out. The downside of being short this thing now, I suspect, is that the CEO leaves and they get a $10 bounce on it. They've done pretty much everything they can. They got a few products over the next couple of years that should allow them to at least kind of float around these levels. I just don't suspect that they've got a whole lot of upside. So the downside would be they fail. The upside is that they can tread water. But and we'll see. I would be afraid kind of around in here that Romney gets replaced and that changes and gets a $10 pop out of the stock. You probably had the top in this thing at 180, and if you were short that, probably you got all the gravy I think there is. It's now kind of down to the gristle for lower prices unless you get a huge surprise from IBM on something else. I just don't think you're going to see it. And as always, sell when you can, not when you have to. And we'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.